Sherman addressed the issue of Jackson's alleged gang ties. I'm not going to tell you that DeSean Jackson isn't in a gang because I can't say that he isn't, Sherman wrote. I can't tell you whether his friends have done the things police have accused them of doing because I wasn't there. I can't tell you what DeSean does with his time because we play football on opposite ends of the country. Now, after that line right there, I say, all right, that should ultimately be the end of the article. Because, exactly, you play football on the opposite ends of the country. I think with this whole gang tie thing, a lot of people don't understand, I guess, I think what the Philadelphia Eagles were doing here. They've been, and they continue to leak out little, stories or whatever about DeSean's locker room incidents and off the field stuff. Well, we'll look into more of this stuff. But you put it all together, and the Eagles they wanted to part ways with DeSean Jackson. They could have, as far as trading DeSean Jackson goes, they perhaps could have handled that a little better. Again, they kind of got caught with their pants down the way they said, we want at least a third-round pick for him, and, a lot of other teams were wondering, why would they only want a third-round pick for a talent like DeSean Jackson, a guy who can obviously produce on the field, more than a third round, more valuable than a third-round draft pick. But, nevertheless, as far as I'm concerned, the Eagles ultimately waited for this, this little gang story to come out, released by a reporter, like a freelance, no-name reporter. And, I guess that would be a good time to sell to the fan base. Oh, he's DeSean Jackson and gang ties. We don't, that's not good. We don't want somebody associated with gangs like that and this and that. And, I think the Eagles knew what they were doing here as far as wanting to get rid of DeSean Jackson. It doesn't have everything to do, the whole gang thing is not, what this entire release of DeSean Jackson is about. It's just the Eagles organization, Chip Kelly, Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, whatever, they use this as the time to, where they could, just get rid of DeSean Jackson and, I guess be on the fan base's side. Now, there was an anonymous article also that came out this past week. Basically, some speculate it's a player. The thing is about this is that there's been like this whole rumor that DeSean Jackson had an argument once with Chip Kelly and cursed out Chip Kelly and whatever, but it never came out until apparently now there's I guess there's rumors that this happened. I got to think that if something like this really did happen during the season, some kind of Eagles beat reporter or someone would have had to have caught this by accident, and this would have came out at the time. So again, there's a lot of rumors that floating around. We don't know exactly what's true and what's not. But the overall feeling is that DeSean Jackson was not well received by the Eagles locker room. Before we head to the first break, let's go to this article, I guess, of this anonymous these anonymous comments from somebody.
Who is this?
Yeah, we don't know, but here's what it kind of basically had to say. Funny how Jackson has this anti-bully thing, and he thought he could push Kelly around. He found out otherwise. His being cut had nothing to do with the gang stuff. The team knew it. Everyone knew he had ties. Those were his guys. That's okay. What put him out was his selfishness. He can try and spin it all he wants, how he's a team player. He's not. I'll put it this way. When it came out last Friday that Jackson was released, more than a few guys were happy it happened. They said good riddance. He had no real connection with anyone. You see little kids and how they cry and whine when they don't get their way. That was D-Jax, another source said. I don't think Jackson gave Kelly the respect he deserved. Kelly tried to reach Jackson plenty of times, and Jackson tuned him out. Then you look at how a team functions when everyone is out together at charity things or social stuff. He was the one missing. It was like he was in D-Jack's world, and we just happened to be there. It ticks me off that Kelly comes off looking like the bad guy here. It wasn't just Kelly that wanted him gone. Kelly got a lot of feedback from guys that felt we were better off without Jackson, too. Kelly is very much a player's coach. His office is open to anyone. Now Jackson is the Redskins' problem. We have something good going here, and it's not going to get better without, and it is going to get better without Jackson. He had to go.
Who is
so?
this?
Yeah, I mean, again, we don't know who this is, but nevertheless, I mean, the overall feeling is that from the locker room and other people around, and obviously the coaching staff, they wanted DeSean Jackson gone. And it's also funny how the article mentions Jackson is now the Redskins' problem. So I guess good for the the Eagles feel good about what they're doing here, and the locker room I guess says good riddance